Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome, my name is Anneke. In today's episode, sorry, I'm getting organized. I should have done that before. In today's episode, a finished object and 2 whips. No acquisitions yet. So my finished object is the homespun wool spun by my dad and me, and now knitted up by me, which is a bit me. Sorry about that, but I'm so glad it's off the needles. It's unbelievable. I've been knitting on it for some time, and then I put it away because I thought I made a mistake with the split and how to calculate everything. And in the end, I keep on looking back. I shouldn't do that, should I? In the end, I decided to continue knitting as the stitches were presented to me. Because ripping back, even though I'm fine with ripping back, that's, in itself no issue. But since I didn't really know what I'd done wrong, and if I'd done it wrong, I thought, you know what, it's quite far up already, so what happens if I continue? And I can still rip it back, if I don't like it, I can still rip it back. So yeah, I continued knitting and I'm very happy with the result. I've worn it already. Yeah, really happy days. So I've got some separate footage with the jumper sweater closer up, and I can point at little bits in the video. But yeah, as a design, the front is shorter than the back. Let's see. You see that? So the front where it ends and the back ends almost to the bottom of the mannequin, to the dress form. I wanted it that way because I do a lot of work behind a computer, and when I sit, I like my bum to be covered. And it's nice if the front of the sweater is shorter, so it doesn't all bulk up at the front. And it works fine. It does as it works as I was hoping it would work, if that makes sense. So yeah. I'll insert some video with close-up here and enjoy. I continued knitting, and to be honest, it is quite all right. So I don't even know where to start. From here on, I have done, well, I don't know if the official term is short rows, but from here on I've done kind of to and fro. So going all the way around to here, going all the way around to there, going all the way around to there, and so on and so on. So that makes this side lower than the back. And what you see on the mannequin is not the exact fit on my body, which at times is a shame because sometimes it really looks good on the mannequin and I put it on and I go like, okay, not quite there. So I did that, and I kind of ran into the same problem as my light brown sweater with darts, and that is that the darts, this is going to be too long, so the darts are going to be too low. So I needed to cinch in this bit, and I wanted to get some space out of the back as well. So I did a couple of decreases, hence all the stitch markers. So blue, it's difficult to see, but blue is for the raglan, but all the other ones are for making it fit. So I did some decreases on the top of the raglan, and only at the very end. This is also only, I don't know, two, maybe three lines of decreases, in order to make this go smooth. And of course I haven't done the real neckline yet, but in order to make this kind of go smoothly, I picked up a stitch on either side. Yeah, and all in all, that made it much better. For the bust line or the dart or whatever you're going to call it, as I said, I ran into the same problem, so that this point is going to be too low. And you would think, well, then if you know that, why don't you start higher? Which is a valid point, but if I start too high, I haven't got enough stitches to do the decreases. So I don't really know. Maybe I should make two darts, one closer and one further in. Also, when I'm wearing it, and at this moment on the mannequin, it is running in. This is concave, which when I wear it, it's not, because I wear it over my dress or whatever I'm wearing. So on my body, this just is one line. And of course, at this moment in time, it's very obvious because I've got those stitch markers here, which looks a bit weird. But still, I think I've made it a bit too close in. It should have been a bit further out, just around the point, if that makes sense. Which would again bring me to, okay, if I put it around further, I've got less space to decrease my stitches. And yes, I will continue this neckline, and I will, finish it off now, because this is right. Where it is now, it's right. So I don't know yet what to do, whether I'm going to do an I-cord bind off, or I don't know, just straight and then it rolls up, which would be nice. Yeah, would be nice, I think. I'm thinking, sorry, my brain is going to the Rosa Pomar sweater, where I also went like, oh, that would be nice if it's just a little roll or something here. But the Rosa Pomar sweater was different because of the collar. It had a different collar and it took too much attention, whilst with this, that won't be the case. So I'll do a little thinking about how I'm going to finish this neckline. I don't really want it to be a roll neck or anything. This is very, very scratchy wool. And it's not the design I'm going for at this moment in time. I really like this neckline. So if I can keep as close as possible to this without its stretching. So in one way, it would be nice if I could just bind it off. Just bind it off. Quite tightly. That would be nice. But that might not be the best of ideas, because that doesn't look very nice. So it needs a bit more than just binding off. Maybe I-cord. That would be nice. Anyway, I'm rambling. And yeah, I will continue thinking. But I thought I'd just show you all the stitch markers here, and how often I went up and down and up and down and up and down just to get the back, just to raise the back. and to get the shoulders in, because every time you do that, the shoulder goes in a bit as well. And even though it looks amazing on the mannequin to have the shoulders up to there, when I put it on, it just falls off my body. So that's not a great idea. So I need this. I need the in. So yeah, I thought I'd just show you this, and then the next bit you will see will be the finished article. Okay, thank you. It's difficult to get the whole sweater in the picture, but here it is. Let's turn it around a bit, and you can see the back. And if I put this up, you can see how much longer the back is to the front. This is specifically designed for me sitting still, so this really goes over my bum, and the front is short enough so that it rests on my legs. So it's knitted from the bottom up, and it's got darts in it for the bust. This mannequin, this really goes in. It doesn't do that when I'm wearing it, so it's a bit more like that. But hey ho, there you go. So yeah, there's the dart. Still have to think about how to improve on that, but you know, for the time being it works. I've done an I-cord bind off. Quite happy with the bind off, as in how it sits. I did run into a problem at the end, and my wool got stuck, and I couldn't unstuck it, or however you call it, and I had to kind of fudge this together, which is when you know, you can see it. If you don't, then it's okay. So from here on end, I started doing short rows, never to return to this bit, only for the I-cord. I do have pictures of all the stitch markers that I used, just so you can see how often I went up and down. I wanted to lift the bust thingy dart a bit. As I said, I haven't found the really right way to do it yet. I needed to lift this up a bit because the dart was going too far down, even though in theory it was in the right place, but this was spreading out in some shape or form. So in the end, I ended up doing extra decreases on the shoulder. I also did some extra decreases in the back. And if you don't know and you don't look for it, it doesn't really show up. And even if it did, you know, I needed it. So there you go. Yeah, overall, I'm very happy with it. I've worn it already. And yeah, happy days. I'm very glad it's off the needles, so I can continue my life. But yeah, happy days. It sits well, it fits well, and I like the history of it. Yeah, how it came about. There you go. So now we can... yeah, sorry. So, this is the only finished object I've got at this moment in time. Which is fine. I'm just relieved it's off the needles. I'm not done with that wool yet. I've still got some of the wool in the grey. I've still got some of the wool in the speckled one, and I've got some white. and I want to create a body warmer and kind of sleeveless top. The Spencer vest? I don't know what the word is. In Dutch it would be Spencer. When the Dutch word vest exists, which is cardigan in English. So in English, a vest. Yeah, a kind of vest type, but when I think of English vest, I think of a summer top. Anyway, you kind of get the gist. A body warmer that's closed at the front. That, basically that. So yeah, I've still got that to do. In the meantime, I started two other projects. So the last video I did, I showed you ripped out wool, which was, I'm sure, very exciting to look at. Not. So I'd knitted quite far on the body, which was too wide. And so I ripped it back because that was going nowhere. And then I wasn't quite sure how many stitches I'd put on. Anyway, somewhere my brain told me it was 260. And so I did 260. And now it's similar to the sweater I'm going to replace with it. Again, I've done some separate footage of, you know, the two sweaters on top of each other. So the parts of the sweater that I've done already, and the cream-coloured sweater underneath it. How recognizable is this? Running out of space. Anyway, so next project, the cream one, is a sweater I've got that needs replacing, and the dark brown is what I replace it with. So this is the second attempt to knitting the body. I think last video I ripped it back. I had just ripped it back. I think I made a photo of it. Anyway, I was almost at this stage where when I figured out that it was way too wide, and I didn't want it to be that wide. But yeah, so I ripped it back and forgotten how many stitches I had in the first place. Worked from memory, put on 260 stitches, I think. So if this is the side on one end, and this is the side on the other end, it's only marginally wider. So there's that. And then started on the sleeve. These are all the increases. So one sleeve is done, the other sleeve is almost done. You know, I need to pull it out a bit. There you go. And yeah, I'm looking forward to putting it together and create a raglan. The raglan will be a bit of an issue though, because as you can see, this is where the sleeves stop, here and there, and there's quite a bit of fabric north of that. So it won't be exactly the same shape. And the other thing is that if I make a 45-degree angle in this bit, it doesn't quite match up. So, and it doesn't quite match up because it looks like it matches up, but it doesn't, because this is the line the sleeve will follow. So I'm running out of sleeve before running out of body. But that's the way it is. I will just see what I do when I get there. I don't want to do this collar. I do want it to be a relatively wide neck, because this is a relatively thin fabric. So I'd like to do a relatively wide neck. As long as it stays on my shoulders, I'm happy. I am going to split for the body, again, more fabric to the front than the back. And I will again incorporate darts. I will take measurements from my grey sweater, and I will make the darts start further to the side, which in this case should be less of a problem because the body is so wide. This body is much wider than the grey body. So yeah, this is the state of affairs for the dark brown sweater, and it's just knit, 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 knit. Of course the sleeves were a lot of increase, but yeah, a lot of just knit, and my brain is okay with just knit. I've been knitting on one of the sleeves of my dark brown sweater, and I'm using this tiny, tiny, tiny needle. It is Knit Pro Zing 25 centimeters, which sounds like a lot, but it's really nothing, and 3.5 millimeters. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. I have to say, now that I've got some length in it, it's going better. And maybe because the wire is a kind of, how to put that, loosening up, maybe, not quite as stiff. But it is a tiny circumference. And the thing with this is, it's got one long needle and one short. And when I say short, I mean it's... Let's see if I can wiggle that out. Oh, losing a stitch. These are the lengths. So this is the long part and that's the short part, which is quite a difference. I've tried them both ways. So one where I had the long bit in the left hand and the short in the right, and the other way around. In the end, it feels better to have the long bit in my left hand, and I'm right-handed. I guess it's a matter of trying out what suits you. I also have those needles which have a bit of a bend in the end, so they go slightly around corners. But I wish there was one that was shorter than this, so about, you know, not even 10 centimeters long. That would be, with a bend, that would be great. I would buy that. At this moment in time, this one's got a very long wire. I don't know, 60, 80 centimeters. Let's have a look. Oh, 100. So the whole thing of this is 100 centimeters long, a meter. Deep sigh. I will transfer it to this one in a bit when the knitting has more length than this needle. At the moment I can still hold it on the short one, but that won't be that much longer anymore, and when I leave it to lay down, stitches are starting to pop off, so I have to be really, really careful with this. If anyone knows of a shorter needle than this, but longer than that, and with a slightly longer wire, or wires that can be wires that can be interchanged, that would be amazing, because I can see this working for socks as well. Once you've got the beginning, or for me, once I've got the beginning, once I've done quite, a couple of centimeters, I can actually hold it in my hand. Up to that point, it is very uncomfortable. So yeah, let me know what you think. I'm curious what there's out there, because for me, I've learned to knit in around on double-pointed needles that are long, so that are 40 centimeters long. And then I did a collar work cardigan, which is still not finished, and I needed needles and I couldn't find them in the UK, so I started to learn how to knit on circular needles, which was completely new to me, and I'm still learning learning a lot about them. I've got a decent amount of them now. But yeah, I think interchangeable needles could be a thing for me, because I have so many projects and things on the go, and it would be nice if I could use the needles and the wire separately. So if you've got any knowledge about that, any ideas about that, please let me know in the comments, because I'm really, really, really curious, since that's not how I learned. I learned in a very old-fashioned way. So yeah, I'll keep on knitting for a bit until it's long enough to put on the long needles. Using stitch markers for all the increases. There's no science to it. I just eyeball it and hope for the best. There's a lot of increases going on, but then again, the start was very narrow. And I don't want too many increases close to the armpit. I want most of my increases here, and then it goes a bit straighter, perhaps. A bit straighter at the top of the sleeve. Anyway, so far so good. I've recorded a little bit about the sweater before, and I spoke about this tiny circular knitting needle, and how I didn't quite get on with it, but I was going to give myself some, space to learn. And I'm getting slightly better at it. I'll keep it in my arsenal. It is okay. I do have to say that, especially because it's such, for me, 3.5 millimeters is really the edge of what my fingers can cope with. For, sit down and knit. For half an hour, it's okay. But if I do more than half an hour, it really, really hurts. I hurt my fingers, my shoulders, my neck, everything is cramping up. I don't know why, maybe just because I'm holding on so tight to those needles, because they are so short, and I don't know. This bit is also very, very, very short to be manipulated, to actually do the stitches. But overall, I'm keeping it in my arsenal, and I will keep trying, because I did notice that I was getting better at it. So yeah, that's that. Up till now, happy with the project, happy that I ripped it back. I don't really know if I've got enough wool. And I can't measure the weight that I've got left, because of the cardboard bit on the inside. So this looks like a lot, but it's got a hole in it that's quite substantial. Can you see it? There you go. It's a very thin layer that's been left. When I was doing the other sleeve, I had one ball of wool and wound up like so. And when I stopped, I thought, well, I can break the wool, or I can just double it up and make a cake out of the doubled up wool. So I, bit by bit, unraveled the leftover single ball and made it double. So this is doubled, so that's one little bit, and then those two bits. And when you look at the footage, I've got quite a lot of surface to do still. I'm really curious. So this is half a kilogram, 500 grams. We will see. We will wait and see. Really curious if this is. I sincerely hope it's going to work. Otherwise, I have to buy a whole new cone, which is, if you can knit one sweater out of the cone, I think they go for £25 for 500 grams at the moment. I bought this one in the sale. I can't remember how much it was. I think it was slightly less than £20. Anyway, but if I have to buy a whole new cone for finishing off one sweater, then it becomes an expensive sweater, because then all of a sudden I've got a lot of leftover yarn. Having said that, there's a design floating around in my head that I would love to make with the dark brown, and then incorporate one of the lighter browns at the top, which would mean I need to buy 2 more. Anyway, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet. So that is the green sweater. The green sweater. Honestly, so that is the brown sweater. And I started with a design for the green that I bought in the Woolly Knit sale as well. Let's see. So that is the general idea. So a very wide or long, very long rib that goes in the waist, and then so that's a 1x1 rib, and then the rest of the body is a different pattern. It's 1 knit. No, it's 3 knit, 1 purl, 3 knit, 1 purl, 3 knit, 1 purl, and then when you go back, it is again 3 knit, 1 purl, but you stack it slightly different, so it becomes a very deep ridge, which I think is nice, which is warm, even though the fabric is not thick. Because of the structure of the fabric, it's going to be warm. So that's the idea. And I did a couple of test knits, and it's fine. Hang on. And then I started knitting. So I don't know how many stitches it is. It's 290 stitches. This is a lot. Mostly rib. 1x1 rib. And the thing with rib, if I do knit, purl, I keep the yarn in my left hand. And when I keep my yarn in my left hand, the same way I hold, if I keep the yarn in my left hand the same way I hold it for knit as for purl, my purl stitches would twist. And I don't particularly like that. So when I go back and I put the needle in the back of the stitch, it will untwist the stitch. But all in all, it's a very slow process. And I'm glad I'm doing this together with the brown one, because the brown one, despite the sleeves being very small and fiddly and cramping up my hands, the just go for knit, 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 and just being able to go in at the front of the stitch, which makes it so much quicker for me, is a relief from this. This is just a labor of love. And I'm just curious whether it's going to pan out the way I've dreamed it up in my head. Chances are it's going to be very, very, very big, even though I intend it to be, really puffing up at the body and really puffing up at the sleeves. I really want that to be a contrast between the waist and the body and the cuffs and the sleeves. So even though I really want that, I don't know if the overall effect is going to be nice. That's we will wait and see. In the meantime, this is taking forever. Yeah. Again, it's 2 strands of yarn, and I had started on the brown one earlier, so I thought, 3.5. But then, if you do 3 strands, even though you go up 1 needle or whatever, how many needles I would have to go up in order to make it a nice fabric, it would also mean that the fabric you're going to end up is so much bigger, and this stitch already creates a very big effect. It creates this 3D warm thermal layer. Do I need to add another strand? So I decided against that. So I decided to do this in 2 strands as well. Yeah, I'm doing it. Am I going to give up? I don't know yet. The scarf bit with that I'll put on is knit. So it's tricot. I don't know what it's called in English. It creates this flat fabric. So this is the what's going to be the scarf, and where the picture here. So I started that fabric at the bottom, and there's going to be a couple of buttons. And initially I thought, I'm going to make buttonholes, but then I thought, no, I'm going to scrunch that fabric together. And when it's scrunching up, it creates already a bit of a puff when it comes out of that scrunch, and create a more sumptuous scarf-like neckline, whatever you call it. I say that a lot, don't I? Whatever you call it. I really don't know what you call it. Please comment put it in the comments, and I will learn it eventually. So in the drawing, you can see that the scarf needs to go out and then up. And I need quite a lot of fabric there because I want it to be double. This scarf goes up in 1 layer. This is 1 by 1 rib, 1 by 1 rib, and it just goes up like that, which I really like, because this green fabric is thinner and a bit more floppy. That's why I do it double. And because it's double, I need even more fabric to make it sumptuous. So stay with the thought, Anneke, stay with the thought. So doing this up and down in knit one way and purl the other way, putting the needle in the back to untwist the stitches, yeah, that's a lot of effort as well. For me, you know, there may be people who go like, any day, any day, just, you know, give it to me and I'll do it. Maybe when I get to the end of the whole project, I'll go like, oh yeah, no problem. This is the beginning of the project. I haven't done that far yet. And at the moment, it takes a lot of effort. So I might get better at it. So there you go. This is and this is how far I am. So this is the whole thing. It's front, back, and the other front, all in one go. There's an opening somewhere here, and yeah, that's how far I got. Again, slightly worried about the amount of yarn this is going to eat up. Of course, I will have a better idea once I've finished the brown one. Yeah, I really have to look into that, because again, otherwise I have to order a new cone, and when you order a new cone you want it to be the same dye lot. And that's it. I have 2 projects on the needles. I did not do an awful lot with the brown turtleneck, or whatever you call it, with the little cape. I did a couple of rounds, but nothing particular to show. What I did do was look into some woolen mills and yarn shows and everything yarny. I know there is the woolen show in Wales, but that's only in April, so that's quite far out. I do want to book it in because it's relatively nearby. I can drive it in an hour from here, I think, something like that, towards Wales. So there's that. I want to go there. I have looked at Jameson. I really want to go. I really want to go. But flipping heck, that's far, far, far away from here. But I'd love to go. I'd love to go to the Shetland Islands, just because I've never been there. And I've seen that the boat, you take the boat from Aberdeen, which to me seemed like weird, because you can go on land much further north in Scotland, and take the boat from John O'Groats or whatever, you know, that made sense in my mind. But no, the boat starts in Aberdeen apparently, or round about there. So yeah, I really have to look into that, if that's possible. And Rennie's is close to Aberdeen, so I can also go to Rennie's. And then I looked on the website, and Jameson has got so many, many, many beautiful colours. It's amazing. So I can see all sorts of beautiful projects in my head. You know, I don't have to knit all the ones in my head, but I can dream. So that's one thing I'm looking into. I will be going to the Netherlands the end of January or the beginning of February to see my mum. And I was looking into Dutch wool, and there's some natural Dutch wool. Well, you know, I don't need that. I've got that. I've got my own. And my brother found a fleece. So I don't know how old that fleece is, or whether it was even ours. I think it must have been ours, but we haven't had sheep for a long time, so I need to inspect that fleece before transporting it, because it might just, you know, not be useful. But I was looking into Dutch wool, and I know Scapius is a Dutch brand, made not too far away from where I grew up. But they don't seem to have 100% wool. It all has at least some acrylic and other stuff in it. Micro, it said micro and acrylic, I think. Anyway, I think, well, micro sounds artificial to me as well. And if you want to, you know, make socks, then that's absolutely fine. But I wasn't that thrilled about creating a garment out of yarn that has different stuff into it. At the moment, I'm into woolly wool, really, you know, toothy stuff that's untreated. Just, you know, here's the yarn, there's the collar, and that's it. So I was slightly disappointed, and I'm pretty sure, because I'll be doing this the same recording in Dutch as well, and my question will be, you know, where can I find nice 100% wool in the Netherlands? And there must be small dyers out there, and I know there's going to be a show, but it's the 12th of February, which is a bit late. I don't think I'll be staying that long in the Netherlands. Anyway, so I'll be looking into it, but I haven't found it yet, because I would love to go to the Netherlands and buy myself a sweater's quantity of yarn or a cardigan. Having said that, I've got this. Sorry, there's something. So having said that, I've got this cardigan, and I've potentially got this cardigan. Potentially. So yeah, I don't really know which way this is going, but we'll wait and see. I am planning to do to go and visit a couple of shows this year, and to find some more niche spinners and dyers. That's the goal for the year. And so yeah, and if I can find yarn in the Netherlands, I'll buy yarn in the Netherlands. Of course, I know I'll be going to Portugal as well, and I might find myself buying some more Rosa Pomar yarn. I don't know yet. We will wait and see. And I was thinking to find out where Holst is. It's in Denmark. I know it's in Denmark, but if I can get there, how far it is from my mum, that would be nice. If I could go there, yeah, maybe I can even sail back from Denmark. Ideas. Anyway, plenty of ideas, plenty of wool. I still have several cones of the woolly knit sale. So, you know, I'm not short on wool in any shape or form. It's just there are a couple of things floating around in my head, and yeah, I really like the marled ones, the colours that have got some depth in it. And I was looking at the Jamieson website, and you know, clicked on some of the wool they've got, and yeah, I could just sit and stare at the screen for a while, which is not very productive. But it's just, it's so intricate. It's got so many colours in one ball of yarn, in one piece of strand. It's amazing. It is, however, quite a bit more expensive than woolly knit, and that is one of the amazing advantages of woolly knit. You know, it's British wool and it comes in quite a lot of colours and it's affordable. If I can indeed knit a sweater for £25, that's amazing. And of course, if you make something really intricate, really special, it's worth to spend more on it. But, you know, if you're on a budget, then that becomes more difficult. Yeah. So I will keep you posted of what I'm going to do and how things are going to pan out. Hopefully next time I'll speak to you. I will have finished my dark brown sweater, and this will be at least, you know, at least the whole band finished, so I can start on the main body, the increases, and yeah, flipping heck. So this is 290 stitches. So there's going to be about 600 stitches. Oh man. Anyway, if I get lost, you know, it's not that I'm lost, I'm just, you know, knitting. I'm knitting. I'm doing weird stuff with yarn. Oh yeah, I thought again, because looking at the site for is it Wonderwool Wales? I need to hang on. She said, as if something was going to happen. It is called Wonderwool Wales. It's the 22nd and the 23rd of April of 2023, just in case you were watching this a different year. So in 2023, it is the 22nd and the 23rd of April in the Royal Welsh Showground in Build Wells. On Saturday from 10 till 5:30 and on Sunday from 10 till 4:30. 100 more days to go, according to the website, from the time of recording this. So I'll keep an eye on it and I will see if I can find the exhibitors, if I can find a list of exhibitors and see if I can do some research before I go. That would be nice. So yeah, why did I start saying that? If I'm going to take you along. Oh yes, I remember. Weaving. So I went through the website and I saw some looms and I went like, oh, yes. Now I've got a tiny loom. It's a children's loom. I'm not even sure it's mine. It might be my daughter's. But that doesn't matter because it's here. So, and I thought, you know, even though I would love to have a loom has been on my list for many years. Why don't I start with what I've got? And it's about this wide. So I don't know what I would, that's the problem. You know, I wouldn't know what to do with the end result because it's a scarf. And then you've got a woven scarf. And how many woven scarves do you need? Or you need to stitch it together and you know, make a lot of strips and stitch them together. It's all possible. But yeah, weaving is on the list of things to do. I don't know if I get to it this year, but I thought if I just start with the small loom that I've got, or that is here. Maybe I don't have it. But I have it, it's here, it's in the house. So maybe I should do that and get, I don't know, get some experience. I've done some weaving, but never progressed beyond that little loom. And my idea of weaving is, 150. That's my kind of fabric. And in the end, I would love to weave my own curtains. I don't know where that idea came from, but I've had it for several years now that I thought, if I had a big loom, I would love to weave my own curtains in a natural wool. I'm sure that brings up some problems, but yeah, I'd love to do that. People get weird ideas, don't they? Or is it just me? Which is possible. But yeah, that's it's on my wish list of things to do. I did go to Scotland one year and we went to a museum for wool, and there was a loom and you could use it. And it was a modern loom. It was I think it was made out of metal. And it was lovely. Just the rhythm of it. It was a workout. But yeah, I'd love to do that, but never looked into it. So that might be this year. Who knows? Depends on what happens with finding land and building a structure to live in and starting a small holding. We will see. We will see. I do know that when I've got the small holding, I will have some sheep for the fleece. I don't really like the taste of lamb. We haven't grown up with it, so yeah, to eat lamb or to have sheep for the meat, it's not really my thing. But the fleece, now you're talking. But I can only decide on the type of sheep once I've got the land, because where am I going to live and what are the conditions for the sheep determines the type of sheep I'm going to have. Anyway, that's all in the future. I really hope the near future, but I've just looked at the estate agents' websites and there's hardly anything on. Hardly any. Of course, I only need one piece of land, but yeah, nothing. Nothing for me at this moment in time. But that can change, They could put up something this evening and tomorrow I might be looking for... No, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is work. Friday. I might be going around some land and put in an offer. Who knows? Who knows? We will see. And again, I will take you along for the ride if that's going to happen. No, not if. When that's going to happen. So, that's it for this week. Please like, subscribe, share. If you know someone who's as mad as I am, then please, get them in touch. Because, it's a good kind of madness, I think. Well, I think most people think that their particular brand of madness is quite all right. But yeah, I think it's a positive thing, and I've been following several knitters over the past year, and it just seems like a nice bunch. It's nice to be geeking out over the same kind of thing, and yeah, strength in numbers. Share the geekiness, share the madness. Because it's a good thing. It's so why is it good? Because it's creative. It brings people joy on the whole, unless you're knitting something like this and then you go like, what was I thinking? But it's creative. It engages the brain cells. It engages your hands, and when your hands are engaged, your brain can do other things, which at the moment is why I really enjoy just going knit. Just knit. And even though I don't particularly enjoy this type of knitting, it is very simple. It's knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, all the way to the stitch marker. Then you go either knit or purl, turn around, just continue. But when you create something like that, it's there's a kind of meditative state you enter, and I think that's really good. You know, meditation is being hyped up, and I'm sure it's amazing, and I've done meditation for a while, and even though it does me good, sitting still, doing nothing is not my thing. Whilst give me a couple of needles and a ball of yarn and let me knit, just knit, and I enter a different state of mind, which is meditative. And I think, well, you know, two birds, one stone. I might as well sit and knit and get into this meditative state rather than, you know, sit in a chair and go om or whatever, which has got nothing against anyone who meditates and it works for them. Because I've seen the effects of meditation and they are amazing. I also know that when I do the kinds of meditation that I've studied, I can't sustain it. I can't quite keep it going, which means that I don't quite get the effect that it can have, whilst when I knit, oh, bring it on. You want me to knit a blanket? Oh, give me the time and the wool, and I'm off, you know, and I'm enjoying myself in the process, and I think that's very important. Enjoyment. So yeah, spread that enjoyment, spread the creativity, spread the nice group of people, the weird group of people. It's lovely. It's just lovely. At least I think it's lovely. But otherwise I wouldn't be doing this, would I? So, yes, once more, I'm going to love you and leave you. Please like, subscribe and share. And until we meet again, hopefully soon. Hopefully my brown sweater will be finished soon. Have a good time. See you. Bye.